How much time should you spend in a code review? Hello, I'm Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. Tech Support said they're coming out Tuesday to close that thing up. For sure, they said for sure. So we're going to be reviewing a 1 minute, 30-second clip from Uncle Bob, which I've been beating up a little bit lately. He kind of deserves it a little bit. I mean, some of the stuff he says is all right, but it's only the stuff he's like, because he's talking from other people's collected experience, not from like his own mind. Okay, let's keep going.
How much time should you spend on a code review? Let's say that the original
I love Dev Tools Made Simple because he shows some code here. Some bank queue, enter line, set priority, bank line offer. I don't know. This is some bank software. I guess maybe some of his like class code or something. I can't tell if this guy's a professional or if this guy's a student.
author
It's a great
required
channel though. I gotta give him a like and subscribe here. Go give him a like and subscribe, guys. Come on.
5 hours to write the module, how long should it take to review that module? Well, some function of 5 hours, maybe not exactly 5 hours, but
How did you write it? Did you pair program it? Or was the programmer involved with all the steps? Did you have a customer around? Are the requirements already set in stone? Do you have the UI set up? Are the APIs already set? Are we building an API? The stuff is so vague. It's very he's tailoring his speech for the Harvard MBA types that want to really think that all software companies and software are really just companies like widget companies. They're just a fancy manufacturing. People making a big deal about this too much. It's just a fan. We're just manufacturing something. We're manufacturing a widget, and all we have to do is get the time down, and we can then shave off, and then we can increase productivity by getting more tickets through and all that. They all want to think it's a manufacturing process, and they can't. But the languaging, the way he talks about some of this stuff, makes it seem like either he still thinks of it that way or wants to think of it that way, or has been accustomed to being in so many sales calls where he's with these Harvard MBA types who are the ones that write the checks. You say that Uncle Bob course is the one we're going to take our people to, get our certification from, get our course from, get our books from. Yeah, he convinces those people like, oh, it's just a process, it's just a mechanized process. It's not, man. It's not. After product market fit, maybe you could maybe talk to me about it being a manufacturing process where they're just trying to reduce defects. But even then, you're going to still have to have this part of it because there's going to be people coming up trying to eat your lunch that are going to not little startups, little scrappy guys that are just going to see your business model and go, we can take a little slice of that.
but some significant function of 5 hours, because if you're going to review the module, you need to walk through the reasoning that the author originally went through.
Well, I mean, you should be doing this already, not at the end of the thing where the source code. You should already be intimately involved with all the process steps, including the design, the architecture, what the problem is, the problem space, the domain, who's it for, why are we doing this, who's it like, who's the actual customers, and the people who are that we're like signing up for our service, or is it the VCs that we need to please to have new features and bugs and whistles on a page, and we can just fake other stuff until we get it working.
Now, hopefully the author made that easy for you by refactoring it and cleaning up the code, so fine, but it's still going to take you some fairly significant amount of time to review that module.
Maybe.
If you review a module that took 5 hours to write and you review it in 15 minutes, all you've done is look for semicolons.
I don't know. The AI, it produces a lot of code, and we just have to read it right. Right. Most of the time, like these AI tools will be producing code, but the meta structure and how all that interrelates together, that's that's like not in the code necessarily. It's in this other layer and other understanding, so it's not going to be there. So he must be thinking about a different time and age when you could maybe contain some of all the things that we need to know. But even then, he's like, I just think he's cutting out a lot of stuff and trying to oversimplify and saying, if you just use my method, the Uncle Bob method, then you're not gonna have any problems. It'll be just simple, like a knife, like a hot knife through butter.
That's all you've done, right? And maybe some indenting and maybe a few naming conventions, but you haven't done anything
What? Come on, man.
significant. You haven't actually reviewed the code. So you should look at code reviews as requiring roughly the amount of time it took to write the module. Well, okay, if you're going to spend that.
I mean, and he talks about pair programming where we're going through this as we're doing it, and by the time the end of the pull request comes, we've already been like talking about this thing for a while, or been reviewing or looking at it, or we're already on the same page because we've already discussed the architecture, who this is for, why we're doing it, what the UI sketches look like, what the APIs look like. What are we? Who are we using it for? Was this a new thing we just came out with? Is this new partnership we have to res up? And they haven't done anything like this before, so there might be some things I need to talk to somebody else about. Like, how do you even just schedule that stuff out? That's why in adventure driven, it's like we don't even. I just say, you have 3 months. You have 3 months, and that's kind of how it is anyway to get product market fit. It's like you have 6 months. Somebody's got their savings. Somebody's found a customer. It's like, dude, if you could just do this thing over here, I got 65 guys in my user group that wants to do this one thing, and it's if they have the thing, and you're like, fuck, I have 65 guys, man. That's gonna take. I don't know. I could. Maybe. I mean, I'm kind of in that user group too, but I understand their thing, and man, I guess I could do 3 months. I work, part time on my. I told him doing that. That's not my new thing. I got to do. I'm at the expense of everything else. No Netflix. No like hanging out with the boys. No, the next 3 months to create a solution that you might get there. It's like, can you do a slice of it? Can you do a piece of it? Or can you like scope it in a little bit so we can just do just the part that's like, all that negotiation. How long does that take? I don't know. Quit asking how long, but you can have like, I got 3 months. I got 2 months. How long is all that each little part of it going to take? I have no idea. But I know that if at the end of that 3 months, or a month into it, I haven't made progress, or some big thing that I thought was going to be there and it's not there, or it's missing some piece that I thought was going to be there, or I can bail out early, right? Or the investor can bail out, or we can switch to some other thing. It's like, yeah, anything else? It's like, well, there's this other thing over here that looks interesting that no one's done this thing over here, like that kind of stuff. Constant. So how do you can't do schedule that?
Much time reviewing the code, why wouldn't you pair? Pairing takes about the same amount of time, but when you're
I
pairing,
agree.
you are.
But some people don't like it, and some people there's parts of it you don't need. And pairing is sort of like we should have done the pairing already with all the other stuff I'm talking about, the context, the problem space, the solution space. And we can go off and individually and do stuff. But yeah, we do have to share screens every once in a while. And you can definitely zip through stuff a lot faster when you're sharing screens, but not all of it. So when people get carried away, it's like you have to. Yeah, I tried pair programming. It was a lot of people just waiting around. It's like, you're doing it wrong. And like, because the way they describe it, it's like, you just sit together and do the code. It's like, not quite. You might, there's times when you want to do it, and there's times when you let it go. And people have to be like, there's always this computer people, they just want this thing to be binary. It's like, just one neat trick. It's like, no. It's all neat tricks. It's all tricks and just style, intent, background, culture, context. Uh, a lot of it's just that kind of stuff. It's like emphasizing this and not that. Uh, a lot of it's just curation about which way to go, what tool to use, what style to put things, what to put emphasis on, what to allow, what to not allow. It's more of that stuff, man.
Actively involved. You are not passively reviewing, you are authoring.
Yeah, that's
There's a much better way to share knowledge and contribute to
yes, but there's times to do it and times you don't. And you see a lot of these courses and people are like, do you do it all the time? It's like, no, you don't do it all the time, but you do it when it's appropriate. And you might have like, I'm a big proponent of, I worked at one company that kind of did this where they had a set time of day, like between 10 and 1. You would just come, and it was voluntary, but you were kind of expected to do it, and you would share your screen while you're working on stuff. So after your first break or whatever, but you do your stand up, everyone gets together. And they just put their screen up, and you don't have to talk or anything, and everybody can just look at your screen and what you're doing while you're typing away doing stuff. And if you're working on something together, people can go, "What is that? What are you doing over there?" Like, "Oh, what are you doing there? Oh, that looks interesting." Every once in a while, then if people go, if they're really super interested, they go off together and do a private share screen there, or they do publicly if everyone seems to be involved. But it's awesome because you can see all these different people, all different styles, how they're approaching the tools they're using, because everyone's got different stuff. It's awesome. It's super fun. And so that's a way of doing it remote, right? I used to, like, when I first got involved with programming, we'd always sit next to each other because there was limited hardware. So it was people, because there was more people than computers. So you would be sitting next to them talking about whatever you're trying to do, and they say, "Why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that?" So I've been pair programming from the start, so it doesn't seem to be this weird thing. It's like, but you put a label on it, and people say, "No, it's a religion now. You do it all the time, or you don't do it at all." It's like, no, man, come on.
Team.
It's the idea behind it. People get really caught up with this, like, has to be this, has to be the one thing, the one true thing. It's like, dude, it's all these different techniques. And it's like, first being aware that the techniques exist, and then just trying them on where they work for these people. Some people don't like that. Some people want to do the presentation stuff like that, and they, may not go fast enough, or they go too fast, or for your particular team. So a lot of this stuff is like, but where this culture fit comes in. It's like, can people let go of a static way they thought how they have to do something enough to be flexible enough to do some new thing people haven't necessarily seen before, some new niche, some new market, some taking somebody else's lunch away. This is what we're doing, and that's